Yeah, so we have a little bit of breaking news. I don't know if you've heard, but Garry this week unexpectedly won over every single UFC fan that has been talking shit about him for the last 2 years.
Yo, shout the season, man.
So you've heard me talking about PR disasters within the UFC, and I'm actually working on a larger video covering who's really behind these PR disasters, who's orchestrating the narratives that are at play within the UFC, who the UFC stars are terrified to upset, and who really owns the UFC. Stay tuned for that one. I'm working on it at the moment. Should be out in the next couple of days with the help of God. And as discussed previously, the PR disasters that jump to mind, you don't need my help to talk about them. It's Israel Adesanya, it's Sugar Sean O'Malley, even Colby Covington has dropped into this absolute disaster of looking for 12-year-old TikTokers to like and share your stuff. This whole influencer buzz of having a 12-year-old army follow you on all different platforms is really taking over within the UFC, and it's a detriment to the sport. For the sport that Dana and the organization as a whole and many of the fighters have busted their ass over the years to make this a legitimate sport, and now we're turning into let's choke out Little Pump, let's run around with a bunch of influencers, let's wear nail varnish, let's smoke weed. So in general, the PR surrounding these fighters and why they're being promoted in this direction is shocking. The worst culprit of all, as we know, is Garry. We've covered him a bunch of times. It gets worse and worse and worse, and we talk about gaslighting and we talk about telling the truth surrounding the sport that we watch and we love and we talk about every day, and that's exactly what we're doing again right here. Because when you have MMA outlets putting out headlines like this, Garry unexpectedly wins over UFC fans as Colby Covington gets trolled by Irish star and Layla Machado's son. Alright, it was an unexpected wave of UFC fans that hit the internet. Surely it's going to be all over the news outlets on YouTube. Your MMA on Point, or Full Mount MMA, all these type of channels are going to be covering it, but of course they're not. Nobody's covering it because this is a bullshit headline, this is a bullshit story, and it's actually a little bit more than that. It's a bit sinister. When you got a little bit of attention from your child doing these impressions, which was cute, and as I said, let's not talk about children. I'm not even going to show the kid's face in this video because it's not really about him. But you do see one or two headlines because there's not much there. It's not really a story, it's fake. But the one or two that you do see use phrasings like Ian Machado Garry, on the behest of his PR guru wife, has used his son to troll Colby Covington. What started out as a little bit of a cute, organic thing of him doing the impressions, very cool, everyone had a nice funny time with it, has turned into this is your PR strategy going forward to get the fans on your side. And I don't know why this article was written in this manner, because it's retarded, but this is the pinnacle of terrible PR, and it's also a scary indicator of where we're going as a fandom watching our sports stars. So this article starts off with the usual bullshit. He's undefeated, he's gonna be the champion, he is the future, all this type of cringe embarrassment. And ever since the unanimous decision victory over Michael Venom Page, contentious decision is more apt, I think, there. Garry has been constantly luring chaos into the octagon. Needless to say, these attempts have been futile, but it doesn't seem like the undefeated prospect is done with his pursuit just yet. In a recent Instagram post, Garry posted this video featuring his son's parody video. In the clip, the future can be seen asking the hilarious question. He said, "Leo, what does Colby Covington do?" To which his son simply laughed and ran away, implying that Chaos Covington is ducking him. So the journalist here had to explain the joke because it was so advanced. Garry then chuckled and said, "He's running away." And this is what won over the legions of people that dislike this man for his behavior. So you know the phrasing 10-7, which I really don't like when it's used in like a social context. If someone says something that mugs somebody off, it's just like, oh Christ, can we just speak normally here? I think it's quite ironic that you 10-7'd yourself because this article is junk. Fans react to a hilarious video clip by Ian Machado Garry featuring Machado Jr. Alright. Psychological warfare has always been an essential tool for fighters to mitigate their way and earn a shot at gold. Veterans like Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor have built careers with their humorous trash talk and laughable tactics. This is written by AI, I think. This is an AI or someone who doesn't speak English or something like that. It's only natural for another Irish native to be looking to follow in the notorious one in his pursuit to convince the UFC matchmakers to grant his wish. Okay, that's not just cringe, that's a lot of bollocks. Ever since the video went viral on Instagram, fans have been swift in pouring their reactions. Don't even understand the writing. One fan stated, That's good. It's a 10-7 round. It's low-key 10-7 because I'm 12 and I follow a big bunch of streamers. Another fan took an amusing take directed towards the Florida native. The fan wrote, haha, funny and true. Colby needs to take the fight. Let's read another one of these funny and humorous and hysterical takes. Another fan wrote, now when Colby responds with something outrageous, everyone's going to say he's out of line. The cycle of life. Interesting. I think that's kind of the tactic that is being used by the guru and the PR system behind Ian Garry. Sharing the same sentiment, another fan wrote, yeah right, no one even wants you to fight Colby after that MVP performance, which is actually interesting enough because that performance was sad and pathetic. Remember when he was trying to do jiu-jitsu and he kept falling over, and then he went into the press conference and said that there was like upper echelons of jiu-jitsu that was on display here tonight and I'm evolving the game. You remember all that stuff? Another person wrote, this is getting repetitive. It was cute to start, but now it just feels forced and planned. So basically, in this nothing burger of an article that's glazing Ian Garry for pushing his child front and center of his career to try garnish a fight with Colby Covington, it's a 50-50 split almost just within the article itself. So it's not really like an unexpected wave of UFC fans that have like migrated over to Ian Garry now and that are all like, oh my god, he's unreal, right? So you jump over to Twitter and you see who's actually covering this story. Where is this wave of unexpected fans coming from? You see the likes of BJPen.com. Ian Machado Garry uses his son to taunt Colby Covington. Cool. How many likes does that have? All right, it's got 4. What if we jump over here to MMA Casuals? Ian Garry's son has a new fighter impression. Laughing tear emoji. What does Colby Covington do? How many likes is on that one? All right, there's 15. What if we jump over here, Low Kick MMA on Twitter? What's that? Watching Machado Garry's toddler mocks Colby Covington just running away. All right, it's got 1 like. It's got 1 like. This really does look like an outpouring of joy and love towards the Machado family for their PR strategy, right? But there was one comment that I loved, and it was this. And Knockout of the Day responds with this picture here. Didn't he almost let him drown? And you can see the kid here on the left from this insanely crazy picture that he decided to put out there. This is all part of the PR strategy from the smartest person that he knows, his wife, Leila Machado Garry. This is one of the smartest ideas he ever had, to put on a G-string, cock his ass up in the air with his wife and her other kid, whilst his famous kid who's running his PR team is head underneath the water like 3 feet from him. I guess this is all part of the PR plan, right? And you were like, oh my god, like I remember that. You remember that at the time? You were like, oh yeah, that was crazy. So I pulled up that clip, and of course it was a nicely shot video, and there you have it in real time.
8. That's up.
And this comes a couple of days after Ian Garry put out the footage of him hitting pads. Looked kind of special needs, and the sound effects were even more special needs. And we have him sitting on the ground with his legs crossed over and chewed the box, writing in his diary. Another part of the unbelievable PR plan that UFC seem to love and the fans have all migrated over to loving this week. And that was captioned with fight news coming soon. And the actual rumor that's circulating is that he is going to fight Colby Covington in Tampa at the end of the year. I believe it's December 14th. And that just sends a shiver down the spine of UFC fans in general. Because not only do we have to put up with the retarded antics of Colby Covington on the run up to that fight, but we also have to put up with Ian Machado Garry. And you could almost bear it, you could almost tune out, except for every MMA outlet, every MMA commentator, every ex-fighter with big platforms will be telling us that this is a huge fight. They'll be telling us that Ian Machado Garry is one of the biggest names on the roster, and we'll just have to sit, grin and bear it. And if he wins that fight, I don't know where we go from there. I have no idea where we go from there. But I thought it was a nice, small, interesting little tidbit to have a little look at today. In case you didn't know it, it was breaking news. All of us UFC fans are now unexpected fans of Ian Machado Garry. Just so as you know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit like, subscribe and share. Cheers.